These Gold Coast beaches are some of the most heavily patrolled beaches in the country. And of course, where you've got surf lifesaving clubs, you've got first responders. When there is an incident or an interaction with sharks, often you've got that first aid at hand that helps save lives. I think it's the difference between the Gold Coast and perhaps some other beaches where we don't have that, that kind of immediate availability of medical help.
It makes no sense to kill and cull sharks when you're looking at 1 fatality, 2 fatalities a year. If you compare that to anything else, any other cause of a fatality, it's irrational that we would be killing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sharks and the bycatch of seals, dolphins, whales, etc. to resolve that. The challenge for politicians, however, in fairness is, how do you manage the tourism? How do you manage the decline in business when these events occur? And so it's a complex question, but there's no question around whether we should or shouldn't be culling sharks. The answer would have to be no.
What we need to have is a government that is open-minded, a government that is transparent, that at least lets look at it. There's some wonderful groups out there such as Sea Shepherd, Surfrider, Australian Marine Conservation Society, some wonderful groups who've got concerns, but have also got some wonderful alternatives. What we should have is a government that's willing to workshop this situation, invite these groups in, let's sit down, review the data, analyse it and see what better technologies are available. How can we lessen our impact on these, on the environment and the marine life that suffers in these nets? So I think that's one of the things that's important to me. I just want to see a government that's willing to listen rather than this, no, there will be no change. I think that's upsetting a lot of people. And it's not saying that we've got someone that's got open ears. We just want to try and move ahead a little bit and let's have a workshop. Let's talk about it.
One thing that's become really clear to me when I was chairing the Senate inquiry is we need more science in sharks. It's actually, oddly enough, a lack of science that's allowed this debate to become so political over so many years.
We are seeing that they're affecting from the very top of the food chain all the way down to seagrass, even the nutrients in the water. Everything is being affected by sharks and by their behavior and by their movement. So if we were to take these animals out or significantly change or reduce their populations, we'd be seeing massive effects throughout the ecosystem that could really have detrimental effects to that area. And there's actually been studies that have shown unexpected results as well. So there's been modeling studies that we expect that these different populations that fall under the sharks will all just boom. But that's not the case. There are other populations, even further down the food chain, that will fail. And these could be, again, important commercial species or important in other ways throughout the environment.
We have these loopholes that allow state governments like Queensland to roll out shark nets because those shark nets were in place prior to the implementation of federal laws. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, politicians listen to votes. And if people say to them that shark conservation and removing these nets and drum lines is an issue for us, we are sick and tired of seeing humpback whales caught in nets, having dead dolphins and turtles pulled out of nets. Those things will matter at the end of the day if they become a political issue. And I'm very confident that as we see education and awareness raised around the country, this issue is going to continue to build momentum until we actually do move into the 21st century and put our oceans first and the health of our oceans first, as well as some good solutions to help reduce risks for surfers and bathers.
I think what we need to look at is baby steps. And I think one of the things is the humpback whales. And we do know that the southern coastline off Tweed up to, say, Burleigh Heads is an area that they use to feed their calves with because it's protected from the southeast winds. So mums come in very, very close, and that's why we see the high rate of babies in that caught down in that area. I think if we could look at changing the nets for, say, 8 to 10 weeks of that intense southern migration, replace them with the drum lines, I think that's a perfect start. And then take some baby steps. Let's evaluate what we do in that situation and then take it from there. I think that's what the government should be open to something like that. The public, if it's sold right and sold correctly, should understand that's a good situation. We're not going to impact on bather safety because every other surf club has got the drum line. So all we're doing is just effectively replacing the net with the sufficient number of drum lines that has the same catch rate of sharks. So we're not impacting bather safety, but we just remove those nets for that 8 to 10 weeks where mums are bringing these calves in to feed in this nursery area.